Welcome to Growing Home, the podcast that helps you take care of the place that means the most to you, your home. I'm your host, Terry Therian, alongside your co-host, Len Giddix. So Len, as we recap here on our conversation this morning with the veterinarians Andrea Dennis and Eva Ceranowicz, the hosts of Pet Talk and WTIC 1080, and also the veterinarians at Bloomfield Animal Hospital, what was your takeaway? What did you think?
It was the way that they perceived the holiday. It was through the pet's eyes. It was totally different. I was coming at it as an owner's point of view. Okay, we've got to take the plants, the holiday plants, and move them up. We have to watch the ornaments on the tree, the tinsel. But when you think about it from a pet's point of view, all these guests are invading their home, and are they prepared for it?
Right, and it was less. We definitely went in there with the perception of, all right, what do we have to put away? What do we have to organize? What should we not bring in the household? But it was really, as our guests come into our household, what does that mean for our pets? And then what does it mean for our guests?
Exactly.
And what they should know about coming into our pet's household.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to discuss in the next 3/4 of an hour, half hour. All that important stuff that, heck, you've been living with pets all your life, and you were astounded as some of these ideas.
Definitely eye-opening. So with that, please enjoy and take note of our conversation with Andrea Dennis and Eva Ceranowicz. As our slogan is where the home grows, and we focus on everything from plants in and around the home to our pets, we're always keeping in perspective that these two elements coexist. Whether it's fertilizing and feeding our landscape or bringing plants indoors to spruce up our homes for the holidays, we always have to remember that our pets are living in the same space. So, to help us maintain a safe environment for our pets, we have experts with us today, Doctors Andrea Dennis and Eva Ceranowicz, hosts of Pet Talk, the popular weekly radio show that airs Saturdays at 2 p.m. on WTIC AM, and practicing veterinarians at Bloomfield Animal Hospital. Thank you guys for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So, just to get going, if you guys could just share, a quick, history of your background.
Well, yeah, I'm from Hartford, so I'm from a Connecticut native, as is Dr. Ceranowicz.
I'm from Waterbury.
So we grew up on WTIC listening to Bob Steele. So this has been sort of a part of our family at WTIC. I think we're probably both veterinarians that knew this is something we wanted to do at such a young age, because it's really important to know that you love pets, and not just the fact that we fluffy, but just the fact that we could handle every aspect of it, because not every part of being a veterinarian is pretty, but it is definitely one of the most rewarding jobs, and that's what gets me up every morning.
Absolutely. It's one of those things, we are both people that wanted to be veterinarians since we were very little kids. So we're still here.
How long ago did you guys start the radio show?
I want to say like 17 years. How long have you been doing it, Len?
A full 17 years.
Okay, so then closer to 15, because it's been a while now.
It's been a long time.
And I don't know where the years go, but it's. I did not actually circle it on the calendar, but I know it's been well over a decade.
It was just yesterday.
Yes.
Time flies.
Well, yeah, we usually go by our sons. I usually go by the age of our sons, but it's been very close to 15 years.
Excellent. So do you find, people that call in on the radio, you find, the same stuff that you see in the hospital or different stuff, or sometimes they, work hand in hand?
I think it is the same topics, and because that's what's nice about doing a radio show, because people have the same questions and other people are thinking about it, and a lot of people are going through the same experience, only they don't know anyone else who has, so they can call us to find out, because we do see it. Right. And we're guiding them the same places we guide our clients.
Excellent.
And there's no rushing on when people call in. Sometimes when you're at the veterinary hospital, you're nervous, your pet is nervous, and you don't always spend the time to ask the questions or remember what questions to ask. Then you come home and like, oh, I should have said this, this, and this. So I think that's another role that we feel as a service that we enjoy and makes it worthwhile in terms of preparing for the show, coming in and spending an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, because you do feel like you're helping people in the end.
So, now we're getting into, everybody's preparing for Thanksgiving and Christmas and the holiday time. So either from the radio show or from the vet practice, what do you guys see as, common holiday time issues that our pet owners run into?
I think the first thing that is in common with both holidays is the baking and the goodies and the food.
The food.
And the people over that aren't paying any attention to what's going on with your animals. When you're doing baking goods, you have to worry about things like yeast. If you're doing sugar substitutes, you have to worry about xylitol. If you're making other desserts, chocolate is poisonous to dogs. It can be to cats, but they don't eat it as much. They're not that... They're pickier about life. Both holidays, people think it's okay to throw the scraps out for their animals, so they'll do the fatty parts of the turkey they're not going to eat. Well, the dog shouldn't eat them either. It's not just us. Although we see pancreatitis right after Thanksgiving and Christmas because there was too much fat given to them. We're going to throw them the bones from the turkey. Those are the things that both holidays have in common is the food.
Gotcha.
And your guests don't know that they shouldn't do this if they don't have dogs. So they're happily throwing things, or they have things in their purse that's toxic to your dogs, and they leave it around, and the dog sticks their nose in the purse, and next thing you know, you've got a problem.
Absolutely. Right. So definitely recommending a warning or a heads up to the guests as they come in that the dog eats from the dog bowl and not from the table.
Exactly.
Right, and the cat. And the other thing with the holidays, things that are brought into the home that you normally don't have. And that is a lot of plants, holiday plants that are very festive, and we enjoy them, but you're a busy time of year and your cat will start nibbling on the amaryllis, and that's not necessarily the best thing for them, or the poinsettias.
And what are the presents that people bring in?
Right. So those are worrisome. And I would say the third thing would be the stress. Sometimes holidays are nerve-wracking for people. The pets are also stressed with strangers coming in the home, and that can be a big deal as well.
Yeah, I never thought about that, but absolutely, because all these people are coming over, and then pet is stressed. That's not a good situation for their behavior,
or sometimes physically too.
Yeah.
Some animals react by getting diarrhea when they're stressed.
Right.
Those things
urinary
do
tract
happen.
Infections.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So we tend to be very busy during the holidays. I would say that's not necessarily a good thing. And again, there are actual pets that have anxiety. That is whether it's noise anxiety, fear anxiety. If somebody's coming over to visit and they want to bring a pet, so there's a lot of dynamics that can change over these. Fun time of the year.
Yeah, so actually for pet anxiety, it's actually a very big topic right now for the pet product space. Are there things that you guys are finding or recommend for dogs with anxiety or preparing for when the guests are coming over?
Well, I think it's knowing what the personality of your dog is, and if they can't handle the guests, then maybe they need to have their own place where they can be away from everybody, especially if there's children they're not used to. Maybe they need their own space, their own room. There's medications out there that we prescribe for dogs to help them through these situational areas so they don't have to be so worked up.
Right. And I think the medicine is important. And we were just on the air talking about Halloween and saying this is the week to call your veterinarian, to start getting the drugs that you might need and the situation set up, but be prepared. Right. And then New Year's, you have fireworks. So all those things affect our pets or really have become family members, and they are really affected by so many of our holidays in this short time of year.
Yeah, I think this is an unexpected great reminder. I was actually at a wedding last weekend, and the parents of the groom, they're both horse veterinarians, and we were walking their farm the day after the wedding and everything, and a big thing they talked about, it actually came up, was what they do to prepare for 4th of July.
Yes.
Right.
And to move all the horses into pastures, to make sure, they're in areas to make sure they can't get loose, because when the horse gets so stressed, they can easily break out of what is a well-structured paddock.
Right.
So yeah, that's a great thing to think about, and, definitely prepare ahead of time.
I think one of the other things I think about is when you mention animals people bringing pets when they visit and bringing pets to family. Be kind to your family members if you're going to bring your animal. I see this all the time. Make sure your flea and tick control is up to date, because I've had flea infestations from the guests, and it really ends up that everyone is very unhappy in the family after that happens. So if you're going to bring your animal along, make sure they're flea-free.
And the relatives, too.
Exactly.
If they're itching behind their ears.
And take a shower yourself, right?
It's exactly.
There you go. I have a dog at home, and we often have friends bring their dog over. Anything that you see, they're two happy dogs at home, and then the other dog comes over and is coming into the other dog's territory. Is that a common thing you guys run into or hear of, where behaviorally that's a difficult situation of one pet coming into another pet's home?
It can be. I mean, if you don't have an easygoing dog who doesn't care. I mean, some dogs don't care. Other dogs, that's a stressful thing, having somebody else come into their home. And I mean, I don't bring my dog.
Neither do I.
To anybody's house.
No.
I just keep them separate, and I don't want to get into that kind of trouble, because you can have fights, you can have all sorts of things happen, and then it's the holidays, the two dogs are fighting, someone tries to stop it, they get bit, they do it improperly, it's ugly. Why make Christmas into that?
With presents under the tree and everything, and stuff for them to get into, or even the holiday plants come in. Let's say they do get into something that's, they shouldn't have eaten, whether it's poisonous to them or is causing an allergic reaction. Which one should we look for? Because you can't always keep your eyes on the dog or the cat or anything.
Right.
And it's always when you're not looking, right?
Right. Right, and sometimes you don't even notice it for a day later, especially if the plant is in your house and your dog or cat has gotten at it. I think if your pet is vomiting and diarrhea, are the main symptoms that we tend to see with any of these plants. Not that necessarily some of these plants are going to cause death. We do have a couple on our list here that do, but it's more. You just want to make sure that if there's vomiting and diarrhea, you want to look around for a reason why that would be happening. Sometimes some of the more severe symptoms are depression. Not only that, but they're logy. And then we have a few that can actually cause cardiac issues and tremors, neurological issues. If you have a cat or dog that's all of a sudden just coming into your room and you see that they're hypersalivating, that's one of your first clues, because even with something that may not kill them in terms of plants, and even the Christmas tree water additives, all those things, then if they're hypersalivating, they got into something. And you try to look around the house, and that's why, because so many things, sometimes you find them in the middle of the night, we really want you to have certain things, certain phone numbers handy so that you can call. A lot of time your own veterinarian's not going to be there, but if you have that number, the local emergency hospital that your veterinarian works with, and we love the poison control phone number for everyone to have that. So
if there's, you're recognizing some behavior in your pet, and, something, you have reason to believe they got into something, what are the steps? I mean, is the first thing to call the vet hospital?
First thing, if they're acting strangely, is call either your veterinarian or the emergency veterinary hospital if it's after hours. If you saw that they did eat something and you know what they ate, then the first call I would make is to the ASPCA poison control number.
And what is that number?
It is 1-888-426-4435.
Right. We don't want to recommend that people try to figure things out on their own. That's when we run into trouble.
Right.
And even when we do the radio show, we always either tell people to call your veterinarian, even when we're giving advice. But what we would recommend, because many times if you catch them eating something that they should not have, you want to be able to induce vomiting. Even poison control is probably going to recommend that. We're not going to tell you exactly how to do it, but we will say that you should always have an unopened bottle, fresh bottle of hydrogen peroxide. The one that comes in that dark brown bottle?
Yep.
You can give a certain amount, and that will induce vomiting in dogs. We would never use it in cats.
Right.
But it's one thing that for the listening audience, that just to know to always have an unopened bottle, because it can come in useful with the guidance of veterinary professionals on how to use it to get whatever they've eaten evacuated out of the stomach.
Right. And the guidance is for how much to give, as well as is it a substance that you should not induce vomiting with, because there are some things it's contraindicated.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right.
And then what if it's something that's like hard in nature, like my dog growing up ate one of my Legos?
Well, Lego is not a bad thing. The good news is most things that they ingest, probably 80% of the time, will pass just fine. It's the 20% of the time that it decides that it is going to puncture something, get stuck somewhere along the way. Right. So what we usually tell people is to watch carefully. If you know your dog ate, always call your vet.